guys, it's me, Crystal, and I'm coming to you from my living room today. I have a lot of books to get through. So last time I did a book haul, I had 17 books, and this time I think I have 30, but I only have like 26 more books written down on my list because initially I was going to try to limit the number of books I bought to half the number of books I was planning on reading. So since my reading goal for this year is to read 52 books, I was going to try to buy no more than 26. And I knew I probably wouldn't be able to keep up with that. And I was not going to tell myself once I get to 26, I was not allowed to buy any more books because no. But what I was hoping is that I would get to the end of the year and I wouldn't feel like I had bought too many books, because I kind of felt like that last year because I didn't keep track of everything. And when I tried to go back and count everything, it just seemed like a lot. And so I'm like, if I hold myself accountable by I'll make some videos, hold myself accountable, and I'll keep a running list of all the books I bought, then even if I bought a lot, hopefully I won't feel like I bought too much because I was more mindful of it, if that makes sense. That said, I'm still going to try not to go over 52 books bought this year. And as far as I know, there's only a few more books that I want to buy for sure this year. But I do tend to buy multiple books at one time because it's kind of like Christmas. These are all the books that I've bought since I did my last book haul, which I think I did maybe in March. I don't think I bought any books in April. I do think I bought a couple in May, and then I bought a bunch in June, and then a bunch at the end of July and early August. So this will cover April to end of August. So these are not in the order I bought them in. This is just the order I have them stacked next to me. So I bought The Voice of Knowledge by Don Miguel Ruiz, and it is a practical guide to inner peace. And I read The Four Agreements by him last fall, and I thought it was really helpful. So I thought this would be the next step in a mini self-help journey to read this book, and it sounded like something I needed. So out of his catalog of books, I picked this one, not just because it was pretty, but because it sounded like the right book for me right now. And then in one of my trips to Barnes & Noble, I bought a few graphic novels. So I got Wonder Woman, Her Greatest Hits, and I haven't read a Wonder Woman graphic novel ever, comic book ever. And so it has these old school Wonder Woman drawings and graphics, and then we get to the more modern day Wonder Woman costume and the more kind of modern day kind of artwork and art style that's going on now. So I saw this, and with the Wonder Woman 1984 coming out soon, which I'm super excited about, I wanted to pick this up and, learn more about Wonder Woman folklore, because I don't remember that show that was on a super long time ago. And so the next two graphic novels I bought were Phoenix Endsong and The Phoenix Resurrection. And I got these because I think it was a couple years ago, I read these Avengers X-Men crossover books, and they took place after Jean Grey died and right around the time she comes back. And so I saw these and I'm like, I've been looking for these. So I'm really excited about these. And whenever I have graphic novels, I like to show off the artwork because it's so good most of the time. And I'm trying not to show anything super bloody. But yeah, so I'm really excited. And then I got this picture book, How Rollin' Rolls by Jim Carrey. And it's cute. And it kind of looks like this on the inside. So the description of this book said that it's about this wave who is afraid to crash on shore because he thinks he's going to die. It's a little misleading. It's a very small part of it. It's mostly about, this wave, doing wave stuff, and it's super cute. And then I got this, Stranger Planet by Nathan W. Pyle, and earlier this year I read Strange Planet, and there's this super, super cute graphic novel about these aliens, doing human things and describing it in their own alien way, and it's like the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I love these books so much. And then I picked up, and these are two of the books I picked up, mostly for decoration, but I am going to read them also. But I picked up these two books, Romantic Poetry and Love Poems, because I wanted to get like a book of poems by Lord Byron, but I couldn't figure out which one I wanted to get. And so I just got this instead because it has like a very small sample of his work. And then I also saw this one, so I picked this one up too, so I can add it to my miniature poetry book collection that I have from the Barnes & Noble classic kind of style line. And speaking of poetry, even though I wasn't in love with the last poetry book of hers that I read, when I saw this, I think it came out beginning of August or very end of July. I think it was beginning of August though. When I saw that this would come out, I went ahead and picked it up and read it. And I think I'm kind of like, I'll show you, like most of her poetry looks like this. It's just just a clump of words on the page. And I don't know why, but when it comes to poetry, this honestly super stresses me out. And she does have some poems that are in like a typical poetry format, but most of it is just a clump of words on the page, and sometimes they take up the whole page. But anyway, I picked this up. Pillow Thoughts 4 by Courtney Peppernell. And then I've been picking all of these up, and this is Giant Days, Volume 13 by John Allison. Mostly illustrated. These are mostly illustrated by Max Sorin. And these are like comedic contemporary graphic novels about this trio of college friends, and they're in their last year of university. And so there's only one more volume left, and I think it comes out in October. And I'm really looking forward to it because I've been enjoying these a whole lot. And then the next two books I got are The Beholder and the Boundless by Anna Bright. And I originally got this from the library because it's like high fantasy, and sometimes I can't get into high fantasy because there's like a lot of, difficult to pronounce names for things. And this takes place in the alternate version of the world where like England didn't take over the entire world, and so there is no United States. It was a little difficult for me. Like, this is one of those times a map would have been helpful. Because sometimes with a fantasy map, I'm like, I don't know where this is. This means nothing to me. But, like, since this is, like, based on our world as we currently know it, I'm like, a map would have been super helpful. But anyway, I did finish this already. And so I am going to pick this up as soon as I finish catching up on my reading goal, because I'm almost caught up because I got a little bit behind while I was moving and stuff. And I'm like determined to meet my goal. Like, I wasn't going to stress out about it, but I realized that I could catch up if I tried. So I tried, and I have like 3 more books to finish, and I will be 100% caught up, maybe even 1 book ahead. So, but yeah, anyway, this is YA fantasy, and it's about this girl. Her stepmother is trying to get rid of her, so she sends her on this courtship tour to Europe. And it does have like even though this is a duology, this doesn't quite end on the cliffhanger, and it's kind of like this is one book, and so this is like part 1, and this is like part 2, and so I didn't really feel like it was, I don't like cliffhanger endings that kind of make me mad. So I didn't feel like this was a cliffhangery, because I felt like it satisfyingly wrapped up the first half of this journey. And also, these books are gorgeous. And so I'm like, if I like this book, I was just going to go ahead and buy both of these. And then the next book I picked up is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. And if you don't know, this is a prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy. And originally I wasn't going to read this, but my sister pre-ordered it and said I would like it if I could get on board with Snow. And because she pre-ordered the book, she got like this really cool sticker that looks like this. It's like black with the gold foiling, and I have the sticker. She let me have the sticker, and I'm really excited about it. So I borrowed her copy and read it, and I really liked the book, and I wanted to be able to, read it again and read sections of it again. And there's like a lot of like song lyrics in here, and I actually really like that in books. So I wanted to be able to, flip through it anytime I wanted and reread some of those song lyrics again, which I've already done a couple of times. And so after I finished her book, I went and I bought my own copy. I keep hitting my table. Anyway, these next two books are part of the Barnes & Noble Classics collection, and they had a buy one, get one half off. So I went in there to get this one, which is the Native American Myths and Legends. And while I was there, I picked up the Nutcracker and Other Christmas Tales. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to applying through this closer towards the end of the year. But yeah, I really like these books because they're like, they're like really easy on the eyes. And I like, beautiful books. So before I get to the rest of these books, before I forget, I want to go through the audiobooks and the ebooks. And I'm going to be looking down some because I have my list of books that I bought so I can keep up with everything. And so the first audiobook I picked up is Nerve, and I don't remember the author's name off the top of my head, but hopefully you'll see it in the book cover picture that I'll put up here. And if it's not visible, I'll put the author's name down here. But I watched the movie and I thought it was fun. And so I saw the audiobook for sale one day, and so I decided to pick it up. And it's, the movie... if the movie's anything like the book, because sometimes it's not. It's about this girl who's like, super straight-laced, kind of boring, and everybody is doing like this dare app, and for every single dare you do, you get money, and the dares can sometimes get pretty risky and pretty dangerous, and so she signs up for this app, and she starts doing these dares, and of course, I think there's something sinister going on, but anyway, I thought the movie was really fun, and so when I saw this, I picked up the audiobook because it was only like 7 or 8 hours or something, which for me, anything that's under 10 hours is like a good length for an audiobook. For some reason, when I get around 11, I start getting really tired. So, and then I picked up The Body in the Garden by Catherine Shellman, and this I picked up an ebook and audiobook, and it's a historical murder mystery that I think is set around 1700s in England, and it's this woman, and she's like a widow, and her husband died pretty early on, so I think she's still in her 20s, and so after a few years of mourning, she moves back to London to like reintegrate in society, catch up with old friends and stuff, and so her friend invites her to this party, and somebody gets murdered in the garden, and the police are like, we don't have enough information to go on, and so they just close the case. And so she takes it upon herself to figure out what's going on. And I've already finished this book, and it was super fun. And I don't read a lot of murder mysteries, and so so everything is like new and different and fun and exciting to me. So I tend to really like murder mysteries when I do read them, and I did really like this one. And then the next audiobook I got is Memoirs and Misinformation by Jim Carrey. And I'm listening to this right now, and it is so trippy. Like, the description said it's like part memoir, part fiction, but it's like written in third person. It's not narrated by Carrey. It's narrated by someone else who is doing a good job, but it's like, it is so trippy. And I can't figure out what's real. I feel like I am watching a movie that was filmed by somebody who was dropping acid, and I'm just like, what is going on? But I'm gonna finish it. And then I picked up Soundless by Raquel Mead. I picked up the ebook, and this is Raquel Mead with Vampire Academy, in case you don't know. And I don't know if it's like a fantasy or dystopian, so I don't know if it's about a world where you're not allowed to make sound or if the main character is deaf, but she can hear something that like no one else can hear. And I think it's some kind of monster, but I'm not 100% sure. But this has been on my to buy list for a couple years now. So while I was buying books, I went ahead and picked this up. And then speaking of Raquel Mead, I picked up the Bloodlines audiobook while it was on sale. And I used a different app, so it's not on my Audible app, it's on this Chirp app. And so I hope I remember that it's on there. But Bloodlines, in case you don't know, is like a companion series to the Vampire Academy. And I don't really know what this book is about, but I have been thinking about picking it up. And when I saw the audiobook was on sale for $5, I picked that up. So, and then the last ebook I got is The Night Child. And I don't remember this author's name, but like I said, hopefully you'll see it here or I'll scroll it across the screen. I don't normally read books like this. I think it's like a suspense drama, but it's about this school teacher, and like one day in her classroom she sees like the ghost of this like little girl like floating in the back of the room, and she's like trying to talk to her, and apparently she has like this traumatic past, and these like repressed memories are like resurfacing in adulthood, and so she's like battling the inner demons. And then I think this book came out beginning of this month, Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. And if you don't know, this is Twilight from Edward's point of view. And I'm pretty sure this book was announced like 10 years ago or something crazy. And I wasn't reading Twilight books back then, so when I heard about it, I really didn't care. And then when the book came out, I was like, I don't know why I would buy that. And also, I had to kind of talk myself into it because it has this creepy pomegranate on the cover. But I almost kind of like it. But the more I thought about it and I kept seeing this book everywhere, I was just like, I really want this book. So... And anyway, I had a Barnes & Noble gift card, like a pretty big one. And so I ordered some books online to go pick up at Barnes & Noble. And then between placing the order and picking the books up, because I had to wait a day because like their hours are different right now and I wasn't going to be able to go after work. So I decided I wanted a couple more books. And so while I was trying to find them, I found this book. Which is Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister by Gregory Maguire. And last time I was buying Gregory Maguire books, I picked up Hidden Sea, which is a Nutcracker retelling, and Mirror Mirror, which I think is Snow White. I haven't read that book though yet. When I was trying to find another book, I saw this and remembered that I had wanted it. And so I went ahead and picked this book up. And funny story, I picked this book up and then like a couple weeks later, I finally, through some miracle, win a Goodreads giveaway for his next book that's coming out, I think in November, which is A Wild Winter Swan. And so that will be in my next book haul. But yeah, that's really exciting. He has a very interesting writing style. And even though I gave Hidden Sea 3 stars, I did really, really like that book. And I would totally read it again. And so there's something about his writing that I really, really love. So when I saw this, I just picked it up. And then part of the new releases that I picked up recently, I picked up The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. And I think this is like a dystopian. It's like this girl lives on this compound and her mom was a witch. And so one day, I don't know she's getting bullied or something, but she gets lured out into the woods and she gets lost, and the ghost of these witches give her mom's diary, and I think she like taps into her own witch powers and like uses them to tear down the compound. Anyway, it sounds like it's right up my alley. So as soon as I saw this book, I bought it the day it came out. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's like smatterings of blood on the cover. It's nice. So the books that I had gone into Barnes & Noble to pick up was The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenson and Circe by Madeline Miller. And while I was in there, 2 different people who worked there told me that this book was really good, so I feel really good about my purchase. I don't quite remember what this book is supposed to be about, but it's been on my to-buy list for at least 3 or 4 months. And so while I was buying books, I decided to finally pick this up. But it's like Greek mythology, and I think it's like inspired by a popular story or some kind of retelling. But it's like this woman gets banished to this island, and I think there's some witchcraft involved. In any case, it sounds like something I would really like. So, and then the Starless Sea is this is a it recently came out in paperback, and I wanted to get the paperback because I thought it might be closest to the same size as the Night Circus, because I'm just one of those people that I like books by the same author to go next to each other. As far as I can tell, I think this book is about this guy, and he's like in this library, and he finds this book, and then he like travels into the story, and then he goes from that story to like another story, and then to like another story. But anyway, I read some of the sample of this book online, and I don't know, I really want to read it. So, and then I picked up these two mangas. So I picked up Happy Marriage by, this book is upside down, by Maki and Joji, I think. And this is about, I think this girl's father like arranges a marriage between her and like this rich guy, and she's like not taking it seriously, but like the rich guy is. And so I think the series is just about, can you have a happy marriage when you get married and the girl thinks it's a joke and the guy doesn't? I saw this on Goodreads, and it looked like it was really cute. So, and then while I was buying books, I decided to finally save this out of my cart. And it's The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. And one of my coworkers has read the book, and she says it's really good. And I don't really know anything about this story outside of what she's told me. But what I really like about the artwork is that there's this red A, and I just think that's a really nice like design like element, but as far as I can tell, it's about this woman, and she has a baby out of wedlock, and it's like super scandalous, and so they brand her with this A to like shame her everywhere she goes, which is weird. So yeah, so I thought it would be easiest and the quickest for me to get through the story in manga form, so I'm excited about that. And then the last two books I picked up are both by Christine Hefferman, and it's Ask Me How I Got Here and What Goes Up. And this book just came out August 18th. And so I got a notification that this book was coming out because I read a poetry book of hers called Poisoned Apples a couple years ago, and I loved it. And so when I saw this, I went to see what else she had and decided to pick this one up as well. And these are like, I think it was like late last year, I read this poetry book, and it was like an epic poem style where the poems are telling a story in verse, through poetry. So this one is about this girl, and she's like a straight A student, and she's like, planning out her whole life, college and beyond, and then she gets pregnant, and then she gets an abortion. And so it goes through like, how she got to that point through poems. So, yes. And what I was talking about earlier, I like poetry that has some kind of form, because it's like, the form of poetry is like part of the art of poetry, to sound pretentious for a second. So, anyway, since I really like her poetry, I thought I would, pick this up. I'm really excited about these. Once I finish catching up on my reading goal, the first books I'm going to read are The Boundless and this one, and then also this one. And so this one, this one is about this girl. She's in college, and she wakes up on this guy's loft bed, and she doesn't know who he is, and she doesn't remember how she got there, and she has like a boyfriend. And so this is going through like her past and what led to her being wild and kind of unraveling. And yes, like the other book, it tells the story through poetry. And those are all the books that I bought recently. From like April to August. So anyway, so I will probably have one more book haul covering wherever I get from September through the end of the year. Although I did get a LitJoy quick crate for August, but I'm pretty sure those usually ship like after the 20th. So I don't have that book for this book haul, but it should be in the next book haul. And there might be an unboxing for it. Who knows? I have no idea what I'm doing. So anyway, that is all for this video, and I will see you guys in the next video, and happy reading, and yeah.